The following podcast contains explicit language and spoilers. You've been warned.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Aim for the Head podcast. I'm Dianna.
And I'm Julie.
And this week we are continuing on our saga of, we are recapping the most recent season 6 of The Walking Dead.
Woo!
Whoop, woo! And we're up to, this week we're going to be covering episodes 9 and 10. This is the kickoff of the B season. For those in the know, the B season is the second part of the season.
After the mid-season.
It's the mid-season premiere. See, folks, what happens is Walking Dead does a bunch of episodes, and then they take a little break where we get really pissed for about 2 months, and then they come back.
And then they come back.
Right. This is when they came back. Wasn't it on... It was Valentine's weekend, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, it was. It totally was. Let me see. Yes, the first episode premiered on February 14th.
Yep.
Good job.
I remember
Well
being
done.
all like, yeah, our date night is going to be Walking Dead.
I'm sorry. I can't do anything on Valentine's Day. I have to watch Summit. Okay. Anyway, so that's it. Episodes 9 and 10 and the mid-season premiere, which happened on Valentine's Day. Because Walking Dead is for lovers.
Which is No Way Out.
Yeah, exactly. No Way Out. So
No Way Out.
Let's
that totally makes sense for Valentine's Day, right?
There's no way out of Valentine's Day. None. Not for these guys. So we start off our recaps with we do a little short recap, all thanks to Wikipedia, a wiki quickie, if you will. And for No Way Out, little backstory on that. After they eliminate the Saviors Patrol, Abraham, Sasha, and Daryl. Sasha. Obviously, there's something wrong with my brain. Abraham, Sasha, and Daryl continue towards Alexandria. While saving Denise from the walkers, the wolf is shot by Carol. Sam and Jesse are killed by walkers while moving through the herd. Ron points a handgun at Rick, but is impaled by Michonne. Carl is shot in the eye, as the handgun discharges. It's just my thing. Rick inspires others to make a desperate stand against the herd. They are about to be overwhelmed when the walkers are diverted by burning fuel brought by Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham. And I would like to say, just a little note to the people on the wiki. The wolf was shot by Carol in the last episode. That didn't happen in this one.
Maybe... I was thinking about that too because we talked about it for the last episode, but maybe he held on to her until the next episode. I have a feeling I remember watching it and being like, but what the fuck happened to Denise?
Yeah.
What's going on? Oh my God.
We might have talked about it
because I want to say
Whatevs.
in the mid-season finale, it was still light outside. And in the mid-season premiere, it was dark out.
Plus, if you think about it, too, where does she run right afterwards? She goes to the infirmary, and she's there in time for Carl and his eye.
So we already covered that part, so we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, so, all right. Anyway, moving on.
What we will talk about is the Saviors going boom. So when everyone got this teaser in the everyone got the teaser. And I'm totally... Diana's distracting me, people.
I'm sorry.
Just so you know.
Sorry.
She's being very distracting.
There was a teaser at the end, very end of the finale episode. We
all got to see them get stopped by Negan's people, but we didn't know how that was going to play out. Mm-hmm. So one of the guys takes Daryl to the back of the fuel truck that they're all riding in. And I know in my head, I'm like, RPG? 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 RPG?
I wasn't thinking that at all. I was thinking you're going to let some fool be alone with Daryl where you can't see what he's doing?
Right.
What is wrong with you?
And Sasha tries to talk to him, and Abraham's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm trying to have a conversation.
She's like, I am handling this. That's a little clip of what's to come, Abraham.
Yeah.
Sasha, pushy.
Yeah. She's a strong lady.
She's a strong, independent woman.
Yes. So that happens, and then we get Daryl at an RPG and a big boom, and it was awesome because you can actually see like the boots of the one guy still standing.
I literally was not. I was hopeful that there was something's going to happen, right? I wasn't absolutely sure that maybe someone wasn't going to get shot first, or I was really, worried something's going to happen to Abraham here. It was a little too close. It was a little too tight. And
Yeah.
I was really worried, and I was like, what's going to happen?
Plus, he's in those
here?
dress blues.
Yeah,
and
he's
like,
just asking. And he's also
asking to be killed.
And he's also at this like really calm place where
Yes.
it's like, I like this lady. I want to get to know her better, and I feel like I profess the fact that I'm full of shit in the last episode, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and blah blah blah. And I've got on these dress blues, and it's like everything about that says, okay, you are now going to die.
Yes.
So I spent this whole time going, oh God, they're going to shoot Abraham, but then like something will happen to save the others. So I was expecting there to be like a gunshot, and then something happened. So there was no gunshot, and then all of a sudden everything exploded.
Yeah, I remember it came out of nowhere too, and I like kind of jumped like,
Yeah, just like, whoa.
because I expected them to show Daryl, like maybe cut back to him grabbing the RPG, or like see him right before he shoot. No, it just blows up.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was still awesome.
It was really well done. It
Yes.
was very, very surprising and very well done. So the saviors are dispatched, and they just hop back in the truck, and they're like, okay, back to Alexandria.
Back to Alexandria.
Okay.
Move on
We're
with
just going to drive over
ourselves.
this, melting carcasses of bodies and, move on. So we cut back to Alexandria. There's, of course, they are attempting to leave the house that they were in. They're all
Jesse's
sort
house.
of, when we last left them, they had all left. They're covered in the sheets with they've got the zombie
poncho.
the zombie poncho, if you will.
The Zancho?
No, that's a terrible word. It's a terrible word. You can't say it. Don't ever say Zancho again. It looks like an entrail poncho, so never mind. We're not making up words. This is not the time. So they've got the guts all over them.
Yes.
Gut ponchos. Gonchos!
Gotcha.
Yes! We did it. Okay, so they got the gonchos on, and they're trying to make it way through the crowd, and it's going really well until Sam has to open his fucking mouth. Mom.
He's like Stewie.
Right.
Mommy, mama, mom. Like,
You just like want to have like a zombie turn and go, what? We're trying to kill people. Anyway, so the last we left our intrepid group. They're trying to make their way through the group of zombies. They're doing very well so far. It's funny because the teaser at the end of the episode was Sam saying, Mom. But when we cut to them this season, they must have just, she must have just, shut the fuck up, kid. We're trying to not die here. So someone must have like pinched his ass and was like, shut up. So when we come upon them, they are making their way through and they are doing a good job. They're making their way. They make it to like a particular area where, they're over like right by the pond and Rick is they're like, okay, change of plans, because they were initially going to try and get to the armory.
The armory.
They're going to try and get to the armory first, but they're like, okay, this is working with the things, so better idea. So Rick's initial idea really quickly was he just wanted to bring everybody over to a vehicle, create some kind of distraction, and draw the walkers out was his good idea, which is actually not a bad idea. But he didn't want to bring. They've got Judith underneath one of the gonchos. Love it. So he entrusts Gabriel. Gabriel takes takes Judith away, and Jesse,
Jesse wants Sam
to go. And as soon as Sam says he doesn't want to go, you know that it's not going to go well.
Nope.
So they're walking away. They don't make it terribly far.
Sam sees a zombie child.
That's really the thing that does in the whole group is, he sees this zombie child walking away, and it's just clear evidence. I mean,
it triggers him. He's been scared for weeks because
Carol got
of
in his
everything.
head. Yeah. So clearly, the manifestation of Carol getting in his head. He sees the kid.
Yep.
He slows down. He freaks out a little bit.
They can't get him to move.
And it draws attention, and it was really a good zombie attack. They literally lean over because he's not tall, and they just bite his skull, the top of his skull. It's fantastic.
Just start eating his face.
So they start eating him now, and then Jessie, what do you do? That's your kid.
Yeah, she's freaking out.
She's freaking out.
She's holding both Sam's hand and Carl's hand.
Yeah.
and then she starts getting attacked.
Yeah.
But she won't let go of Carl.
And everybody else, like Rick, who knows better, is like, I am as silent as a church mouse right now.
But then, of course, Rick starts having his little, like, Jesse moment flashbacks, which was stupid.
Yeah. He's
Like,
he's
oh,
just, like,
dear
looking
God.
at her and silently like, oh, all the good times.
no.
I never even got to have sex with you. We just kissed. And then, like, it's this, like, life passing in front of him, except it's, like, all of his moments with Jesse, which was cute, but kind of
It was
hackneyed.
stupid.
But whatever. It's a
I
little
hated
dumb.
her.
Yeah.
It was not well suited for Rick. Sorry. Not well suited.
Julie, what I would like you to do is tell me all your feelings.
Well, in
Don't
the comic, it's even
hold
worse.
back.
In the comic, they're really together.
Yeah, no kidding. They are hot and heavy.
Yes.
So Jessie is now on her way down to the ground.
And well, Rick
But
does
she's still-
the only logical thing to do in that moment, which is
chop her
arm
right.
off.
I mean, what else are you going to
I
do?
need to save my son.
Right. Well, she's hanging on to Carl, and he's like, "You won't take Carl with you." Chop, takes the arm off. So he does that, chops the arm off, and then as soon as she falls, it like jostles Carl,
And he falls.
and he kind of
Yep.
stumbles a bit. And when he does, his gun falls out of his pants back
Yep.
pocket or something, whatever, and then really quickly, within like a 3-second time frame, Ron reaches down, he grabs the gun, he points it at Rick, and he's about to kill him. He's like cocking the gun back, and Michonne comes up behind with the katana. She totally shish kebabs him.
Yep.
Julie's
Deadpool
word.
style.
Totally right through, but he still had his finger on the trigger. So as he's falling, he shoots the gun anyway. He hits Carl. Carl turns to his like, Dad, and he's got like no eye.
And comic book fans go wild.
And comic book fans rejoice. Yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
I was wondering if they were going to do it because Rick never lost his hand.
Right.
Ever. In the comic, it's by the governor, but I figured maybe they could throw it in elsewhere. They never did it. So I was afraid they actually wouldn't have anybody shoot Carl in the face, and they didn't. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's impressive. And they did a good job
They
with
did.
if you
They
watch
did.
any of the backstory or the behind the scenes stuff, they showed a lot on Walking Dead where they were like with the prosthetics.
Yeah,
and
it was awesome.
Pretty gnarly. It's awesome.
Yeah, they did a really good job with it.
Right.
But so Rick takes Carl and once again is running with Carl and his arm shot. This is not the first time this boy has been shot or that Rick had to carry him to some place to get him fixed.
I mean, forget about Fear the Walking Dead doing callbacks to Herschel's farm. Here we
Right.
are with Rick doing a callback.
Yep.
My son, he got shot.
So
Help.
Rick gets him to the infirmary. And Michonne, like, I actually really love that scene because Michonne pretty much just, like, steps in front of him and just clears him a path with her katana, just back and forth. It's just killing everybody while he's carrying Carl. Gets her to the infirmary. Thank God Denise is alive in there.
Yeah.
And Rick realizes there's nothing he can do in this moment.
Right.
And his town is being overrun, and he goes outside and he just starts killing walkers. And it's a great scene, too, with Michonne. And I love her so much. She's one of my favorites. And she's sitting there and she's holding Carl on the table and everything. And Denise finally gives her the, okay, I got this. She leans down, gives him a kiss on the forehead, and runs out of the infirmary and starts assisting Rick. And as people see this, Aaron sees this, and everyone just kind of starts one by one jumping in and helping.
Yeah, because when the wall went down and the walkers came and flooded into Alexandria, people just scattered to whatever houses they could. So people are sort of
Inside.
There's no one
yep.
on the streets. Everybody's inside, but they're all sort of spread out. Like there's 2 in this one house, 3 in the other, 2 in the other, blah, blah, blah. They just took cover wherever they could. And you can see them. That what's great is the way they filmed it is they show them at the window,
watching.
seeing them, and they see Rick out there fighting by himself, and then Michonne joins, and you can see them all have that decision within them where they were like,
Aaron jumps out. I think one of my favorites was Eugene, and he even mentioned something like, "We have an opportunity to make a big difference here." And
people are going to talk about if we
Right.
succeed. People are going to talk about tonight or something like that. And it was really
and we have that opportunity, and he jumps out there, and it was. I won't talk. There's a shot, but it happens kind of after the entire episode starts to wrap up. But it was a great moment seeing everyone make that choice and just kind of jump in and start assisting and killing walkers, and even Alexandrians too. It wasn't just Rick's group. It was Rick's group kind of first, and then Alexandrians started. I think Tobin even got out there. Like everyone just kind of got out there and started.
And you got to figure too.
Assisting.
You're missing Daryl, Sasha, Abraham. You're missing Glenn and Maggie
because they're on the other side.
They're on the other side of town. Enid's with them too. So Rick's actual core group is very small.
Yeah.
It's like Rick, Michonne, Eugene, Rosita, and Tara, and that's it.
Yep.
And everybody else is like not accounted for.
Right.
Were Morgan and Carol out there too?
Oh, they might have been.
Yeah, but they didn't really show them as much. But anyway, so that scene continues. They are pushing the walkers to, they're trying to back themselves up against the wall. They're getting, they're trying to be tactical. They're trying to, do it in a certain way. Rick's yelling out, ideas to do this, that, and the other thing.
Yep.
They're getting a little bit overrun, but the people that were getting overrun was Glenn was trying to save Maggie.
Yeah.
He's up against the wall. He's runs out of
completely
bullets.
Pinned himself
He's
up
just
against that
about
wall.
ready to be gone.
And I'm screaming at the TV like, really?
Really? You're going to kill him again? Really? You don't have a dumpster right by the wall that he can roll underneath? And then, of course, right at the last second,
Sasha and Abraham open
fire, and they do a great job.
Yeah, it was
killing all the zombies.
It was a great little scene.
Yeah.
Them popping up
over
the
and
wall.
And of course, Abraham's like, want to unlock the gate? Thanks. He's just total Abraham about it. So they save Glenn just in time, and then they proceed to they roll that fuel truck inside, and they just light the pond on fire.
Yeah, they start dumping the fuel into the pond, and they use the RPG and
light it all up,
and it creates a big enough distraction to start pulling the walkers away from the groups that are now getting overrun by them. And then we get that really great shot. Greg Nicotero directed this episode, and he just has a way sometimes of getting that shot where you're like, oh, that was good.
Yeah.
And we get that shot, and it's every single person, one by one, just killing walkers. It's that front shot of them. So they're not really doing anything. They're more so, hitting the camera. Yeah. But it's just
a really good,
such a
tight
great
shot of just them, and it's.
I remember I've watched that scene a couple of times now, and every time I watch it, I get goosebumps because it's so good.
And it's just really well done because it's like, one person makes a chop, one makes a swipe, one makes a cut, whatever, and it's like it fades and it's
getting closer and closer to faces and
as it's going, it's like it fades to the next person, and it gets faster, faster, and then I think it ends with Rick.
I think so.
Yeah. So
and they're all covered and they're all exhausted, and it was a great scene because they do something similar in the comic too when they get overran in Alexandria. I want to say, wasn't Abraham the first one though to go out in the comic to start killing people? Not Rick. And then they all just kind of band together. They go out and join. It was a similar concept though in the comic compared to what they did in the show, and I really like how they did it between the two. But it was a great episode. It's one of my favorites of all time. It was definitely my favorite of this season, I think.
Yeah, it was
a great way for a mid-season premiere to kick off.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the most action-packed of the season, and there was a lot of stuff going on to follow. The Sam and the Jesse being eaten and whatever, which, it was a means to an end, but I wasn't as big a fan of that, stuff. But, obviously I love the way everything wrapped up. It's just so fantastic. It's so, and the thing is that whenever there's, a thing that they have to get out of, there's always, it's like they MacGyver themselves out of it. It's like, what new and interesting idea? And it's like, they haven't done this yet, where they light a whole pond on fire,
Well, and it was an interesting choice there, too, because they could have used that RPG for something like Negan,
Yeah.
They knew, well, Daryl, Abraham, and Sasha kind of knew that there was something out there, but the rest of the guys didn't know Negan was lurking.
Yeah.
But they could have used that RPG for something really important. And this was important.
Yeah.
They probably could have lit the pond on fire with all that fuel in it in a different way instead of wasting an RPG. Just saying, but it was definitely epic.
Yeah, isn't
it was
Daryl
definitely good
Daryl's
TV.
a smoker. Wouldn't he have just had a lighter?
Yeah,
on him?
Zippo, throw it in.
Right. Exactly. Whatever. But this is much more
they dumped
dramatic
an
and
entire fuel truck into that pond.
Yeah.
Anything probably would have made it go up.
Yeah.
A little spark.
It was just, and I like how at the end too, once they light it and the walkers are walking towards
and they walk into it.
It's just all just the music, and there's no talking, there's no sound other than just like there's some music playing behind, and they're just walking into the pond, and it's just really well done.
And it was definitely needed too, because everyone they were all pushed up against the wall. They had no way out.
Yeah.
Isn't that the No Way Out?
Oh my god! That's the name of the episode. We did it. Ding ding ding! No way out. Okay. And on that note, we'll move on. So next up, we're covering episode 10, which is The Next World. And here's just a quick short recap. 2 months after that battle, where we were just talking about with the walkers in Alexandria, Rick and Daryl head out for a supply run, and they encounter a smooth-talking man known as Jesus. Smooth. Is a smooth criminal. They bring him back to Alexandria as a prisoner after a tussle.
Tussle.
Okay, nice. Meanwhile, Michonne follows Spencer into the woods, and with anonymous help from Rick, with anonymous help from Carl, read that wrong, aids him in dispatching and burying the walker that once was his mother, Dianna. That night, Rick and Michonne have sex. And
I love the wiki quickies.
Like the wiki quickies
have
just
sex.
are like they have sex. Jesus breaks in, wants to talk, and scene. Okay.
So I really love the beginning of this episode. It opens up on. They try to show you that time has gone by, right? So there's a picture of Carl holding Judith with his eye covered, and as they're like moving in on these things, Boston's More Than a Feeling is playing, and I love it.
I had totally forgotten about that.
Yeah, so they're like showing these things, and then Michonne asks for like baking soda and peppermint or something.
Yeah, those are the flavors for the toothpaste. Yeah.
And Daryl and Rick set up to go on this supply run. Denise catches Daryl before she leaves, asking for something special. They don't really tell us. Like she hands him a piece of paper, right? So we don't know exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah, and she's so adorable about it. She's like, if you can, but if you can't, I get it. I don't know, but if you can, that'd be great.
And
but
then
if you
he's
don't,
adorable
it's no big
back. He's just like
I don't
making
know what
hand
to do with
gestures
myself here.
Yeah.
What do you want from me, woman?
And then Eugene comes up to them before they leave and says something weird. And
sorghum.
Yeah.
Get sorghum. Yeah. And he does this whole thing. And it's so funny.
And they both look at each other like, huh? Okay.
Like, and he tells, and of course, in his own Eugene way, it's like, it's easier to make. It's better for you. It's better than wheat. It's like the number one fuel and da-da-da. And he's going through this whole thing. And they're like,
sorghum.
Right. And after what Daryl had to deal with Denise, he was like, right, sorghum. We got it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Cool. All right.
Bye-bye, Eugene. Sorghum.
And they leave on their supply run, and it actually does. They find a sorghum truck, and they find actually wasn't it a barn or something that had sorghum written on it, and they find a truck that has all this food and baking soda and all this stuff that they had needed. And they're like, yeah, great, cool.
Yeah.
We'll just leave our car where it is, and we'll take the truck back, and we'll come back and get the car later.
Right.
And they end up stopping at a gas station because friggin' Daryl sees a vending machine and realizes, oh, hey, that
the thing that Denise wants.
Denise wants, that's Orange Crush that she wanted, and they might have some in this vending machine.
So that's their whole reason for stopping.
Yep.
Yeah, well done.
Yep.
And so they're there, and the initial idea was he sees the machine, and they knock it over. They can't get it to open up. They can't get in there. Then they're thinking about what were they gonna do? They were gonna they tied it off to the truck.
They were gonna just
try
drag it, weren't
drag
they?
it to break it or whatever. So while they're there, this guy appears out of nowhere,
bumps into them like he was running.
Yeah. And then he starts running away, and they're like, wait, hello. Excuse me, mister, you bumped into me, and now you're going to run away. And then they start chatting. He introduces himself, and he's like, there's walkers coming, blah, blah, blah. And didn't he say he had people too that were coming or something?
No.
People and walkers.
He introduces himself by his real name, Paul, and then says, "My friends call me Jesus."
Yeah.
And comic book fans lose their shit all over the world.
Typical.
And then they get quiet for a moment, and they both ask each other if they've got people nearby or a group nearby, and they both say no. They don't want to tell each other where they are.
They don't trust each other. You can tell.
And then Rick decides that he's going to ask him his 3 questions, while Daryl's like, "No, dude, stop it."
Yeah.
And then Jesus runs off.
Yeah.
And they hear something behind them where Jesus came from, and then the firecrackers go off.
So they go to investigate, and while they're there, they're like, firecrackers, who would do this? And then they're like, ah, shit. And they're like, keys. And they run out.
Yeah.
He's in the truck, and he drives away. And the best, funniest part about it is that the stupid vending machine is still attached, and he drives off, and he's got the vending machine attached to the truck. And it's just a hilarious, hilarious scene.
Yeah, that was so funny. And then, so they take off after him on foot, and they come across the vending machine first. Daryl, of course, gets his crush.
Yeah.
And then they see just up ahead is the truck, and it's not there anymore. Or it's there, Jesus isn't there.
Yeah.
I can't remember why he stopped. But they come up, and he attacks them. And then they win, and they tie him up loosely, and they take the truck.
Yep.
It's just this back and forth, like, cat and mouse thing.
Yeah.
And then Rick's like, he'll get out sooner or later. And the next thing you know, he's on the roof of the truck.
Yeah.
So Rick slams on the brakes.
Well, they had gone off-road, like they were on like a little highway. And then they went off-road to go check another farm because they saw a building. And then when they did that, they could hear like the bump of someone on the roof. So when he stops, they're like literally in the middle of a field, and he like falls off the roof. Then they're like,
Daryl gets out,
and he's like, "Screw it, I'm chasing this. What is wrong with this guy?" And he starts chasing him.
And it turns into like this, like there should have been Benny Hill music playing.
Totally.
So we've got Rick's driving the truck. Daryl's chasing him, but then Rick ends up needing to get out of the truck because of walkers, right? There was a couple walkers.
Right.
So he gets out of the truck, he parked it, and then Jesus gets to it first. Daryl's behind him. And in their scuffle, Jesus hits it, and it goes into neutral.
Yeah.
And then there's there's a walker right behind Daryl, and Jesus takes the gun and shoots and gets the walker, and Daryl turns around real quick and then looks at him like, "Dude, you just saved my life."
Saved my life. But the truck is rolling, and they're like trying to save it.
And now it's at the bottom of a pond.
Right.
And no one gets anything out of that. Like, I kept thinking like, as soon as it was gone and they're all just staring at it as it's sinking to the bottom of the pond, I'm like, was it worth it? Couldn't you guys have come to some sort of agreement? Like, shit, this is not going to turn out well. Someone's either going to end up dying, or we're just going to lose all of it. Why don't we split some of this? Right. You take some, I take some. We go our separate ways, and like, although Jesus was on foot and he needed a way to transport it. He needed the truck,
but too bad. We've got the truck.
Right?
Thief.
And it's funny, too, because when we first meet Jesus, and he comes off as really bad first impression for anyone who doesn't read the comics. So everyone's like, I don't know about this Jesus guy. I hope we don't see him again. And then they tie him up and they take him with, and like, I don't trust this. And I'm like, no, you're going to like Jesus soon. I promise. I remember my mom's like, I don't know if I trust this guy. I'm like, no, you'll like him. Yeah. She's like, really? Like, yeah. I mean, his name's Jesus. Come on.
How can you not trust Jesus? What is wrong with you? So meanwhile, while all of that's going on, there's, not drama, but there's stuff going on. There's always shit going on in Alexandria. So Michonne notices Spencer going over the wall, going into the woods to go check out something, go after walkers or something, but she goes to investigate, and she follows him around, and he's looking for something. He's like, I don't need you, I'm trying to find something, and it all seems very mysterious.
Well, at the same time, Carl and Eden are also out beyond the wall.
Yeah, and they see some walkers, but we come to find out, long story short, Carl lets that walker go and leaves it for Spencer because it is the zombie of Dianna.
Yep.
Which is interesting. I'll get back to that. But he essentially leaves Dianna for Spencer.
And actually kind of leads her to him.
Yes.
Like, he kind of distracted her enough to kind of bring her over to where he knew Spencer was.
Right. And they do a good job of making it seem all like, oh my God, what is Carl doing? Because he's like leading.
Yeah.
They don't show the face until Spencer's
He's
got
just kind
the
of playing with
choice
this walker, and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, and you're like, is he losing his mind?
Right.
Because he's like, no, this is important. We need to bring this. Yeah, he kept saying this is important.
And it pisses Enid off, and he tells her, go back home.
Right.
Go
I'll
home.
take
I'll
care
take care of this.
So eventually, Spencer does what he has to do. Michonne sees that it's Dianna.
Helps him.
Yeah, and helps him out. And then they bury her and do all of that.
And
then
put the D on the tree and everything.
Yeah,
it was actually a really beautiful
very
moment.
Sweet. And Michonne ends up in this scene with Carl, which was really well done.
Yes.
And first of all, she's mad at him because he let the walker go. He should have just put Dianna down, was what she was saying.
Because it was risky.
Because it was risky to do that, blah, blah, blah. And he says, no, it was the right thing to do. And his whole point was that he said that you should be able to, if a loved one turns, you should be able to be the one that puts them down. And he talked about when he had to put down his own mom, and right after Lori had Judith, and how as much as that was a bad thing and sad, he still is glad that he was able to do it and that it wasn't someone else.
Right. Yeah. Someone who loved her did it.
And his point that he makes to her is, if it were you,
I would do it for you.
I would want to do it for you.
Yep.
And it's just such a cute little...
Well, and she hugs him, and it was just such a beautiful moment.
Yeah, exactly. It was nice. It was really well done. It was a nice little... I've loved how they've sort of cultivated this really great relationship between the two of them. It's really been well done from the minute they started like tussling together when he was looking for that picture,
of his mom and
episodes
dad
and episodes
and
ago, and it's just really well done.
Yeah, it really was. And then a moment that a lot of viewers had been waiting for, we finally shipped.
Our dreams came true.
And it's this really great scene too, where like Rick gets home and she's hanging out on the couch, and they're asking each other how their day went.
She kicks his feet off the couch too. She's like, "Make room, make room." Yeah. It's such a like domestic scene.
Yeah, it's
so
adorable.
Natural.
And he gives just kind of a small like teaser about his day, and she's like, "Oh, you had a day."
Yeah,
like it's such a cute scene, and. Did he get her toothpaste, right?
He got her something. It was gum or mints or something.
That's it. It was out of the vending
machine. And he gave it to her.
Yeah.
He's like, I had your toothpaste, but it's at the bottom of a pond right now.
And that's what she said. You had a day. Yeah. And
he gave her the mints and put them in her hand and was holding her hand.
And they end up kissing, and everyone's like, yay. I don't know who wasn't happy about that. I never met a person or talked to a person who was like, it was stupid. They shouldn't have hooked those two up.
Well, in every person who has opinions about the inner drama and interpersonal relationships in Walking Dead, I totally agree with this. Why are people not fucking more? I mean, there's like, it's the end of the world. Have a little sex. I mean, and it's not like your options are huge. And yes, I understand you're fighting for your life. You're trying to survive, but it's like, hello,
you're smelly,
right? And you are.
You need to make sure you have condoms.
Everybody's really smelly.
People really need to stop breeding during a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Seriously.
So my one little side point that I wanted to make, because so they have their scene.
Yes.
It's really cute. It's very nicely done, and it sort of like fades out, and you fade up to them.
They're in bed together
and laying in bed,
naked,
and you hear Rick, and it's Jesus, and he's waking them up and interrupting them. Here's my point. Okay, so they when they both jump up out of bed totally naked, he reaches for his gun. She's got her katana. Mm-hmm. Here's my thing. When they were downstairs and they were getting their groove on, and they obviously moved from the couch to the bedroom, they literally had to stop, pick up their weapons, take them with them to put on their bedside table. So you're in the midst of like, let's get it on. You're like, wait, stop.
Hang on. We need our weapons.
We must have our weapons next to the bed. And we're going to do this. We got to do this right. Because I don't want to, I don't know. It was so hilarious to me. Like, as much as that whole moment was nice and whatever, they like jump up and I'm sure that the shocking thing has got to be like they jump up and they're obviously nude and whatever. And it was a really well, like the way they did the scene and how Michonne was laying and Denai was laying and she had the cover and whatever, so you don't see anything, but it's very sexily done.
Yeah.
And they jump up and like literally like katana gun, whoo, and they're out. And it's like, why did you go get them? Because you know that they didn't have them with them when they started canoodling down on the sofa.
Canoodling. My point that I was making earlier was, who sleeps naked during a zombie apocalypse? I don't. I would not. I couldn't. I would not be comfortable because you never know what the fuck's going to happen. Shit can go crazy, and then you're naked. You want to be naked during zombie apocalypse?
It's true. It's true. It's kind of, I have the same thing. I won't sleep naked if there's a big storm because if I have to get up in the middle of the night, I don't want to be running around. And
we live in tornado alleys, so there's an actual risk there.
So if it's stormy and I'm going to bed, I'm like, put my pajamas on.
No one has sex and then instantly falls asleep. They cuddled and they talked before they fell asleep. They so could have put something on before they fell asleep.
Yeah,
and they didn't.
They're reveling in their newness and whatever.
And they're both sexy people.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, there was a quote afterwards where when Andrew Lincoln was looking at the script for the episode and how happy he was because he spent so much time with Norman, and it's so funny because he's made some comment about where he's like this was much more fun than working with Norman. It was just like I enjoyed myself much more. And in the interview he's like totally grinning and he's like, I got to get naked with Denai and I didn't get to hang out with smelly Norman. So it was really well done. So that's episodes 9 and 10 of season 6. Lots of really great stuff. Lots of action in the mid-season premiere.
Good episodes back to back.
I know, interesting. We cover them back to back, but there's like 2 months in between the two of them. So it's really interesting that they ended up getting paired for us that way. So tell us your thoughts. What did you think of the mid-season premiere? Mm-hmm. The Alexandrians fighting, banding together. What do you think?
Did you like that scene as much as I did?
Yeah.
Do you get goosebumps too?
What about Carl and losing his eye? And what about losing Sam and Jesse and Ron all in one shot? Not literally, but pretty much.
What do you think about the introduction of Jesus?
Yeah, comic book fans, what do you think about Jesus? The comic book.
What do you think about Jesus, people?
This isn't religious. We're not talking about the actual Jesus. And Rashone. Where do you fall on Rashone? Are you not a fan? Are you a fan? Whatever. Do you think it jumps the shark? Who knows? Reach out to us. Use all the social media outlets. You can email us at aimfortheheadpodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook, Aim for the Head Podcast. Just search for us there. All of our social media links are there. We are on Instagram at Aim for the Head Podcast. And we are on Twitter. There's no @ on Instagram. My bad. Just Aim for the Head Podcast. And then follow us on Twitter. We are at AFTH podcast. Reach out to us. We'll post pictures from tonight. We love taking the pictures of the board because it's so messy.
I've also been trying to do a selfie right before we start.
Yeah, we did a great selfie last week, our double selfie. So reach out to us. And now selfie-ception. It was a selfie inside of a selfie, inside of a selfie, inside of a selfie, inside of a selfie. So reach out to us on social media. Let us know what you thought about these episodes. Next week, we're going to be looking at episodes 11 and 12. Knots Untie and Not Tomorrow Yet. So if you've got thoughts on those, shoot us an email, shoot us something on Facebook. Let us know what you're thinking. You excited for next season? We can't wait.
Yay!
But until then, I'm Dianna.
And I'm Julie.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening.